these are results of your policy. Now you look at it and see what you have to do. Of course, when politician will look at this table, he will say, well, okay, plus, 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 it means majority of these values in the matrix are pluses, okay? Pluses prevail. So this is good program. Of course, we have here some minuses, no problem. We will look at them and find some corrective measures, or maybe leave them out and replace with some other measure, or something like this. And where is zero? Well, zero is basically not problematic. Maybe in some stage problematic, because ignorance is actually means that zero can make ignorance. It's not good, ignorance, because it makes your resources passive. Or maybe plus minus is zero. This is always what we do sometimes. So, politician would say, thank you, Leopold, I will now concentrate on minuses and see what I can do with the reduction of minuses to improve my program as much as possible. Well, politician look at this table and says, thank you, Leopold, but you know, I still have some problems. I'm strategist. I want to know if my program is good or bad. Not you, but you gave, this was my question. And what you have done, you brought me a number of information which are very fragmented, but not synthesized. So I don't know what this means me strategically. I know what this means me in micro terms, but I'm a politician. I need to work for the benefit of all, not for this plus and for this plus. And Leopold says, well, you know, Leopold, evaluator, our evaluator will say, well, you know, my dear politician, this is not my job to synthesize this, because you are a politician. You know, here are some pluses are good for one party, some pluses are minuses for the other party, there are for ecologists, for sociologists, for economists, and putting this together into synthesis, sorry, this is not my problem. I'm technical expert telling you plus, minus, or zero. What you will do, my dear politician, is your problem. You have to figure it out. And when Scriven, you know, Scriven, one of the most important evaluators currently, says, another evaluator, but of course of another generation, of newer generation, says this is wrong way of thinking. If evaluator produces a lot of information which are not integrated, he really informs policymaker, but he doesn't make his work easier. Maybe even makes his work harder, because it's very hard to decide if you have a lot of information which are not compatible. So, what was done with evaluation? With this kind of evaluation, with disaggregated data, says Scriven says, if we leave data disaggregated, we actually betrayed our politician who paid money for this evaluation. He needs synthesized information. He needs strategic information because he's a strategic actor. He doesn't need only fragmented presentation of results. So there is an aggregation problem. How to resolve it? How to listen and follow advice of Michael Scriven, who says results must be to a certain extent summarized, synthesized. And we know for different approaches which try to summarize evaluation results. And here we have an example of the same regional program, where this is the same table, as the previous one, only that rows are summarized. Now we have value-added growth measures, which summarizes rows 1 to 5 from here. Okay? So, to obtain these three pluses, now, please observe, we don't have plus minus 0. Now we have 3 pluses, 2 pluses, 1 plus, 0, 1 minus, 2 minuses, 3 minuses. So we have 7-grade scale because it's no problem. It is now we need it because we started the aggregation problem, resolution of aggregation problem. So to obtain these 3 pluses, we summarized these values. Well, not summarized, actually there was an average of these values. And we have done the same for all other values. So, what we obtained was definitely summarized result of evaluation. This approach is proposed, has been proposed, developed, well, has been proposed in early 90s at the Conference on Sustainable Development, Rio de Janeiro, 1992. This model was proposed by Professor Paul Akins from the Policy Studies Institute and independently presented also by the Professor Muna Singh from Sri Lanka, and he was the Vice President of the Climate Change Committee of the United Nations. They proposed their so-called 3 or 4 capital model. Well, this was 1992. In 2003, Professor Akins developed a paper on how to apply his 3 or 4 capital model. I will explain the difference later. How to apply this model in evaluation, exactly to show what are the possibilities for synthesis of evaluation results. And he proposed to do this, what we have done here, and at the end, he also proposed, now, when we have this set of measure, first set of measure, 3 pluses, second set of measures, tourism, 1 plus, okay? So, this one, 1 plus. This one, 0, on impact on economic aspect of sustainability, because we have economic, social, and environmental aspect of sustainability, right? This is why we are talking about 3 capital model, because one capital is economic capital, the other capital is social capital, the third is environmental capital. So, we made synthesis, and then he says, Akins and Medhurst, his colleague from the Policy Studies Institute, and his research, actually, paper and research, was aimed at developing evaluation approach for structural policy of European Union. They asked him how to prepare strategic or summarized type of evaluation and for the regions, for the sustainable development, and this was his solution. So, at the end, he proposes to summarize vertically all this into summary indicator of how this regional program impacts on economic component of sustainability. It impacts with 2 pluses. Social measures, social measures will improve social indicators of sustainable development with 1 plus, and environment. What does this plus means? My dear colleague, because is it you, Vanessa, your name? Do you know each other?
I've written to you.
Yeah, okay. I'm asking you because I know that you know my paper. Can you help us now understand what does this plus means here?
And actually, what kind of impact
of a whole program?
Of the whole program and as towards environmental...
Exactly. Component of sustainability, exactly. So, we wanted to develop approach about how to solve aggregation problem in evaluation. And actually, here we have solution. Problem solved, we can go to coffee. But no. This solution is intuitively maybe acceptable, but it is wrong. And of course I will need now explain why it is wrong. Here we have three components of evaluation, three domains of evaluation: economic, social, and environmental. And they are separated. Why they're separated? Because we have apples, we have oranges, and we have some, I don't know, nuts, maybe. They cannot be combined. Well, they are three different qualities, and they need to be evaluated separately. But Akins has done it so correctly. He separately evaluated three domains, no problems. What was his mistake is not to observe that measures should be structured just in the same way. We have economic measures which are not compatible with social measures of the program, and which are not compatible with environmental measures. Why not compatible? When you introduce economic measures, you want to, I don't know, improve a situation in companies. And that you will improve situation in companies, so, for example, that you will decrease their cost, and so on. So their effect will be presented in money. But when you go evaluating social impact, social measures on social indicators, these results will probably not or may not be necessarily achieved in money. They may be achieved in social cohesion, in trust, or in hate. But what is important? In one unit, which is, for example, social trust, which is not compatible with the money. Money and social trust are apples and oranges. So they have to be separated. And what has Akins done with Kallemans, group them into three domains. He should do this the same also on the side of measures. Because this is nothing. These two pluses. When you do something inconsistent, the result is, cannot be wrong, cannot be right. So, as we know, all probably, making mistakes is sometimes very important because they enable us making step further. First, we need to do mistake. So, I'm criticizing Akins and Medhurst, but I say they, despite that, showed us a way forward. And this is the criticism, this is the point where I started my research and where our team in Ljubljana started developing our MESO methodology. Let's go to the beginning of the problem and develop solution for aggregation problem again, but now on the way, which is more promising. Here it is. This will be probably increased. Yeah. Super. So, we know this table. This is Leopold evaluation matrix. Just the same as this one. The big one with 47 and 6 criteria. So, here we have measures. In our practical case, we had 47 measures, right, of the regional program. And here we have criteria for evaluation. In our case, we have them 6, but of course, we can do more.